Hello, and welcome back to the Storytelling Podcast. I'm your host, Alejandra, and today we're heading to the vast, sun-baked landscape of Western Australia to witness a conflict that is so bizarre that it sounds like a comedy sketch. But I assure you, this story is completely true. It's a tale of an army, a flock of birds, and a war that was lost before it even began. This is the unbelievable story of the Great Emu War of 1932 and all its fascinating and ridiculous details. The year is 1932. The world is in its throes of the Great Depression, and Australia is no exception. In the arid plains of Western Australia, a group of farmers, many of whom were veterans of World War I, are struggling to make a living. They were promised a new life, a new beginning on the land, as part of a government initiative to get ex-servicemen farming. But the land was unforgiving, and the economic climate was brutal. And just when they thought it couldn't get any worse, an army of over 20,000 emus decided to invade. These farmers had already endured drought and falling wheat prices. And now they were watching their hard-earned crops disappear down the gullets of a massive avian army. The emus were not just a nuisance, they were a plague. Their usual migratory path had been disrupted, and they found a new enticing food source, the farmers' wheat fields. They were just not eating not just the crops, they were destroying them, trampling them with their large feet and knocking down the fences, allowing rabbits and other pests to follow. The farmers were desperate. This wasn't a request for a funny military stunt, but a genuine cry for help from men who already had fought for their country and now were fighting for their survival. They appealed to the government for help, and a rather unique solution was proposed. They didn't send in pest control. They sent in the army. The government believed that a military operation, complete with soldiers and machine guns, was the only way to solve the problem and bring so much needed relief to the struggling farmers. The idea, at the time, seemed perfectly logical. After all, how hard could it be to defeat a bird? In November of 1932, the military campaign began. It was a small but determined force led by the Major G.P.W. Meredith of the Royal Australian Artillery. His contingent consisted of just 2 soldiers armed with 2 Lewis machine guns and 10,000 rounds of ammunition. Their orders were simple: use the machine guns to cull the emu population and save the wheat crops. Seems normal, right? The soldiers were a bit overconfident, expected a quick and easy victory. Major Meredith himself was quoted as being quite sure of a swift win. The first engagement took place near the town of Campion. The soldiers spotted a large group of around 50 emus. They set up the machine guns and prepared to open fire. But the emus, it turned out, were far more clever than the military had anticipated. As soon as the first shots were fired, the emus scattered. They were incredibly fast, running up to 30 miles per hour, and their movements were erratic. It was almost impossible to get a clear shot. Major Meredith and his men spent the day in a frustrating, mostly fruitless chase. They managed to take out a few birds, but the vast majority escaped unharmed. The military's overconfidence was rooted in a fundamental misunderstanding of their opponent. They saw a large, slow-moving bird. They did not see a creature that had evolved for millions of years in the harsh Australian landscape. Emu expert Sergeant S. McMurray who was present, later described that the emu's tactics was a mix of awe and frustration, stating that if we had a military division with the bullet-carrying capacity of these birds, it would face any army in the world. The emus were masters of evasion, using the terrain to their advantage and breaking into small groups to confuse their hunters. I am trying to imagine, and guys, I'm having such a laugh internally because this had to be like a film to see. As the first phase of the war ended in a humiliating defeat, the media had a field day. Newspapers' headlines around the world began to mock the Australian military inability to defeat a flock of birds. The soldiers were ridiculed, and Major Meredith was forced to admit that the they were far more intelligent and organized than they even have been credited for. The emus proved to be extremely wily opponents, he wrote in his official reports. Each pack, and quoting him, each pack has its own leader, and they were highly disciplined. Well, far better than a lot of companies that I have worked on. The military, however, was not ready to give up. They decided to try a new tactic. The second phase of the war began with an even smaller contingent and a new plan: to hunt the emus from the back of a truck, giving them a mobile platform to fire from. This proved to be an even bigger failure. The trucks, meant to give the soldiers a mobile advantage, were woefully inadequate for the job. The rough terrain on the outback meant that the trucks bounced violently and making it impossible to aim. The Lewis gun would often jam, and the emus would simply run circles around them. Oh my god, this is so much fun. Sorry, guys. I found a couple of newspaper clips and pictures from this war, and I'm going to post it here, of course, on the visual video, but also I'm going to post it on the podcast official account on Instagram, so you can see, as normally I put the pictures of what I found online. One famous anecdote from this period recounts Major Meredith's men attempting to ambush a group of emus by aligning in wait with their machine guns. The emus simply saw them, changed course, and ran into the opposite direction. It was a war of wits, and the birds were clearly winning. After several weeks of this frustrating and large unsuccessful campaign, the military decided to call it quits. The soldiers were recalled, and the war was officially over. Major Meredith had fired thousands of rounds of ammunition and had little to show for it. The Australian government had been defeated by a flock of birds, a bizarre footnote in the military history. Great Emu War of 1932 is a strange and beautiful footnote in military history. It's a story that has been told and retold, a testament to the absurdity of human conflict and the surprising resilience of the natural world. The emus, after all, were just trying to survive. They were simply following their instincts, and in doing so, they managed to defeat a trained army. In the end, the military withdrawal was not an official surrender, but a quiet recognition of failure. The official reports downplayed the defeat, but the truth was obvious to everyone. The farmers eventually solved their own problem, not with machine guns, but with bounties and government-subsidized fencing. The solution was practical, not militaristic. Today, the Great Emu War holds a special place in Australian folklore. It's often told with a humor and a twinkle in the eye, a story that perfectly encapsulates the nation's dry wit and a healthy skepticism of authority. It is a cautionary tale about underestimating your opponent, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant they may be. And it's a testament to the fact that in the unique and untamed world of the Australian outback, even a flock of large, goofy-looking birds can prove to be an unmovable force. And this was today's episode, guys. This mini episode. I hope you liked it. And it was so much fun to search about this. I had such a great laugh that I had to redo the voiceover over and over again because I was laughing so hard. And I hope you liked it. And comment below and share your thoughts. Do you like the mini episodes? Do you like any other episodes like the campfire or the rain sounds? Please let me know. It's always nice to hear from you guys, and I promise that I have more episodes ready for you here weekly and bi-weekly, and why not 3 episodes like this week is going to be at the Storytelling Podcast. Thank you for listening, and please remember that if you like to send your stories or special topic to be shared in the next episode, please send it to thestorytellingpodcast8080@gmail.com or follow me on social media, Instagram, and at the Storytelling Podcast Official. Before you go, if you haven't done already, I would love for you to click on the follow or the subscribe button and see you on the next episode.